Welcome back to my garden. As you can see, I'm filming today in front of, my favourite, I hope the others don't hear me saying this, my favourite tree. I'm not sure if trees can hear you saying things, but I want them all to be happy. And in front of me is one of our lemon trees, which provides wonderful lemons, so, I wouldn't want it to take offence. But I do like this tree behind me with its spectacular red blossoms. I'm filming because today is a celebratory video. What am I celebrating, I hear you ask? Well, you might be familiar, if you've watched my videos, with this little black book. My little black book that is entitled, I'm not sure if it's going to come out backwards, I suppose it will, 10,000 Hours. My little black book where I've recorded diligently start and finish times and the total amount of time spent of every single one of my sculpture sessions since I've come to the northeast of Brazil for more than 8 years. And 10,000 hours because the book is really based around that popular idea popularized in the very famous non-fiction work of Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, the 10,000 hour rule. To become an expert in anything you need 10,000 hours of practice. To become great, I suppose. Brilliant at it. And it's a rule of thumb. It's not really a rule, and a bit more of that in a moment. But let me just cut to the chase. Perhaps getting a little anxious. What is my wonderful news that I'm celebrating? Well, if we turn to this page here, whether you can see it or not, I'm not sure. But I have just completed 10,000 hours. Now, a few explanations, disclaimers, clarifications need to be made. The truth is that I started the total, it's not 10,000 hours since I came here. I began with about 1,350. No, I started my total on 1,350, which was my estimate at my sculpture time throughout my life, up until coming to the northeast of Brazil. So, it's not 10,000 hours here, it's 10,000 hours in total. And if I'm being really honest, it's not exactly what the theory is talking about. The theory is talking about 10,000 hours, and this is the important part, of deliberate practice. Whereas mine is 10,000 hours of studio time, a sort of proxy measurement. Deliberate practice is very specific. It's specifically challenging type of practice, repetitions of and incrementally of core skills, progressing, the need for feedback. There's all sorts of important qualities that go into that which constitutes deliberate practice in the original theory as explained by Anders Ericsson, the psychologist, in the book Peak. But 10,000 hours of studio time is a decent proxy. And it's certainly a measurement of, a lot of studio time. And I'll be quite honest, I'm proud of it. Not just that I've done a lot of work. I'm not the first person who's done a lot of work. And certainly a lot of work is considerably less than probably many other people. Actually, what I'm most proud of is that I started this little black book and I've kept up with this system. I've stuck to it through thick and thin since day one of doing sculpture in the northeast of Brazil. And when I've gone on holidays, I've kept tallies. I've been a little nervous of losing the book in some foreign place, but I've kept tallies. I've found ways around difficulties in terms of the logistics of keeping my diary, but I've kept it going for nearly 8.5 years. If I'm being really honest, is there any other system that I've been so committed to in my life? I play chess, I've returned to it, but I never trained with quite this sort of long-term discipline. Certainly my athletics training, never kept a training diary, and my training, as regular as it might have been, was much more haphazard. My formal education, well, it lasted longer than 8.5 years, but it certainly had no organising principle behind it. Perhaps that's why it was ultimately a bit of a washout, why it all collapsed in on itself. Certainly not true of my sculptural practice here. And I have seen the results. The results are good. My sculpture has developed. It's got bigger. It's become much more detailed. I've created, I think, a formal set of techniques for making wire sculpture that really are very effective. The 10,000 hours isn't just wire sculpture, but that has been primarily what I've been engaging with. It begs a sort of question. What would happen if I applied this kind of system to other areas of my life? It's an intriguing question. I'm not going to go down the road of self-flagellation. If only I'd done this sooner. Because I didn't. That is also a question to ask. We can all ask that about some things. If only we'd committed to the right path at the very beginning. Well, we didn't. And perhaps we couldn't. We needed the wrong path to find the right path. And that's okay. I'm at peace with myself in that regard. But now that I have found a path that works, I am starting to think, well, let's try and incorporate this method in other areas of my life. And I'm starting, not with anything quite as clean, quite as elegant as my little black book. But I, with my chess coaching, have embarked upon a sort of systematic way of recording what I'm doing. And I'll speak about that in other films. I can already see that progress is being made there. Not necessarily progress in terms of becoming a better chess player, but progress in terms of better practicing chess. These systems do not guarantee some kind of external success. And what can? That perhaps is in the lap of the gods, or whatever lap is out there, the lap of the universe. We can't guarantee it, but we can show up consistently for something. And that's what this little book has enabled me to do with my sculptural practice. And celebrate I will. I'm proud of that I've committed to something. I'm also committed to becoming ant food here. I don't really want to move. Perhaps I'm just going to cut the video short, leave it on a cheery note. Well done me. Thumbs up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Interestingly, I sort of see this video as, in a way, a bit of a challenge. I'm moving. Sorry for all that rapid and dramatic sort of motion, but boy, these ants can get to you. I tried to resist, but I couldn't. Anyway, back to the video. I'm proud of my 10,000 hours. It's not an inconsiderable amount of time, Recently, someone was looking at my sculpture, and they said, "How long does it take?" People generally do. I guess the kind of work that I'm doing provokes that question. And perhaps that's why I'm doing that kind of work. Because, and this is the point that I'm coming to, this is a challenge. This little book is a challenge to all of you out there, to other people. Because what I fervently believe is that anybody, everybody, all of us, the results aren't guaranteed. They're sort of externally validated results. But if you commit to a system, practice, perhaps that's a nicer word, if you develop that kind of internal discipline, by that I don't mean I'm this incredibly disciplined person. Excuse the noise, that's the non-functioning windmill, the one that collapsed a few videos ago, but it still makes a noise as it rotates around one of its axes, the little bit that remains. There's a digression. The challenge remains. The challenge is to stick to the point, Neil, in this video. The point is that if we develop that discipline, if we show up day after day at a task, a suitable task, so it's not just Sisyphus pushing a meaningless rock up a mountain. It's a task, something that is incremental, where we are not just pushing, but we're polishing. We're getting somewhere. We will get somewhere. And that is all we can do. Commit to the practice and then see what happens. So that's it for this week. I'm going to take my ant-riddled feet inside, brush myself off, and get back to some sculpture. The sort of squeaking noise of the windmill, it kind of reminds me, bizarrely, well, not bizarrely, because we're in the midst of the World Cup, it reminds me of the Vuvuzela. And I think of it as someone celebrating my 10,000 hours with me, the wind, celebrating together here in my garden. So, trust you're well, trust your lives are filled with joy. I apologise if this video has descended into a sort of random word salad at the very end, but that's life. Trust you're well, and until the next video, ciao from sunny Brazil.